And with that, I would like to start by offering my condolences to the family members of those who were lost and killed in that tragedy, and pray to Allah Azza wa Jal to give shifa to those who were injured. And I would expand the circle to include every single person in the Muslim Ummah, because the tragedies, unfortunately, in the Muslim Ummah are so big. It's not only in Lebanon or in Syria or in Palestine or in Kashmir or in China for the Muslims. It's unfortunately across the globe that Muslims are going through difficult time and struggles and challenges. And many of us were speechless when we've seen the magnitude of the blast that took place in Beirut. And the first time that I personally have seen this image, the first thing come to me is the cloud of the mushroom from the images that were saved from the atomic bomb that was thrown on Japan. And the reaction was overwhelming emotionally for me. But one of the things I would like to, in this khutbah, focus on is what we have seen as a reaction from the people who were shooting this incident when it started first as a fire with so much smoke, and they were using their phones to capture this image. And when the blast took place, there were so many reactions. Some of them were swearing, others were saying, "Oh my God," and some, which have captured my heart, were saying, "Ashhadu anna la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah." This is indeed what I would like to explore in my khutbah today. We do once in a while go through incidents where we're being struck with a calamity or a tragedy, or we get into an accident, car accident, or we get hit by someone. What is our immediate reaction? Is it La ilaha illallah? Is it Allahu Akbar? Is it the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal? Or is it swearing or or saying something different? Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, وَيُثَبِّتُ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِالْقَوْلِ الثَّابِتِ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ وَيُضِلُّ اللَّهُ الظَّالِمِينَ وَيَفْعَلُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ. This is indeed part of what you have been already involved in your life. This is part of what you are engaged in your life. This is part of what your mind is occupied with. If your mind is occupied with something that is irrelevant of being with Allah Azza wa Jal, in instances like this, when your natural reaction would be coming instantaneously from your mind without thinking, the reaction normally in situations like this would not be a planned or a thought of, but it would be immediate reaction. It's an automatic reaction. Let this automatic reaction of yours in difficult situations be La ilaha illallah, because man kana akhir kalamihi La ilaha illallah dakhal al-jannah. Whoever his last words is La ilaha illallah, then he will be going to al-jannah. And that's why in the same sequence of the ayat from Surah Ibrahim, in which Allah Azza wa Jalla starts with مثل كلمة طيبة كشجرة طيبة أصلها ثابت وفرعها في السماء تؤتي أكلها كل حين بإذن ربها ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس لعلهم يتذكرون. Allah Azza wa Jalla gave us an example of the beautiful word, which is the kalimat al-tawheed, the word of testifying that there is no God but Allah, and that Allah Azza wa Jalla is one. It's like the beautiful tree that is rooted in the ground and the branches are up in the sky. When the tree is rooted in the ground, it cannot fall off easily. When a few weeks ago or last week when we had a tornado, most of the trees were knocked off. And I was surprised to see how easily trees here in Canada could be falling off. Because when you look into their roots, they are not as rooted. Many of the trees in our countries back home are so deeply rooted in the ground, and they are not easily to be tipped off. And that's why Allah Azza wa Jalla in the following verse, ومثل كلمة خبيثة كشجرة خبيثة اجتثت من فوق الأرض ما لها من قرار يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ويضل الله الظالمين ويفعل الله ما يشاء. Allah Azza wa Jalla will be giving the steadfastness to those who are rooted in their deen, who are rooted in their iman, who have whose whole life is focused on being with Allah Azza wa Jal and remembering Him and staying focused in their ibadat. And that's why Allah Azza wa Jal says in the following verse, أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِينَ بَدَّلُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ كُفْرًا وَأَحَلُّوا قَوْمَهُمْ دَارَ الْبَوَارِ جَهَنَّمَ يَصْلَوْنَهَا وَبِئْسَ الْقَرَارُ. Did you not see to those who have changed the ni'am of Allah Azza wa Jal to niqam, to curses, and أَحَلُّوا قَوْمَهُمْ دَارَ الْبَوَارِ, they destroyed the lovely and comfortable environment of their surrounding as a result of their kufr. That's why Allah Azza says, وَجَعْلُوا لِلَّهِ أَنْدَادًا لِيُضِلُّوا عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ قُلْ تَمَتَّعُوا فَإِنَّ مَصِيرَكُمْ إِلَى النَّارِ. In another narration, وَجَعْلُوا لِلَّهِ أَنْدَادًا لِيَضِلَّ عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ. There's لِيُضِلُّ عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ and لِيَضِلَّ عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ in another qira'ah. Both of them are related to the circumstances we're trying to explain. There are those who have taken andadan beside Allah Azza wa Jal. These andad would be the things that they love beside Allah Azza wa Jal, the things they love in this dunya. We have so many stories of people upon the time of their death, and you probably have seen some of them or have witnessed some of them or have heard from authentic sources of some of them, of someone upon the time of their death, and they are being asked to say La ilaha illallah, and rather they will be singing. We've heard it. These are not new issues, or these are not novel stories that we hear about, but we constantly hear about them once in a while. And you have seen, and some of us, or many of us, have seen the clip that was circulated a few weeks ago for one of the huffaz, one of the qari, one of the scholars of the Quran from Egypt, who was about the time of his death, when he was in his bed dying as a result of the pandemic. They were showing him reciting the Quran, and they were saying since he was in coma, he has been reciting over and over the Quran without being conscious. That's because he was living with the Quran. He's living with Allah Azza wa Jal. In these difficult circumstances, Allah Azza wa Jal يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ويضل الله الظالمين ويفعل الله ما يشاء. It's not haphazard, it's not coincident, it's not about luck, it's about what you have been doing with Allah Azza wa Jal in your life. It is how much you have invested in your real life. It's how much you have invested in your relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal. That's what matters. Some of you who work with people at the end of their life can testify to these things, can testify of how at the end of life for so many people, those who were living with Allah, Allah Azza wa Jal will give them this steadfastness. They will be in comfort in a situation like this. May Allah forbid that we go through situations like this. Our hearts will be in comfort. We will be saying, La ilaha illallah. We will be calm knowing that لا يصيبنا إلا ما كتب الله لنا, that nothing will be falling unto us or will be harming except what Allah have already ordained unto us. That's why Allah Azza wa Jal in the following verse, قُلْ لِعِبَادِي الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يُقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَيُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ سِرًّا وَعَلَانِيَةً مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ يَأْتِيَ يَوْمٌ لَا بَيْعٌ فِيهِ وَلَا خِلَالٌ. Allahu Akbar. As if Allah is telling us, see, Quran is beautiful. Quran wants us not to only read. Quran does not want us only to listen to it for entertainment. Quran is about, contemplating. It's about reflection. It's about connecting and getting ideas. And it does not need genius to be able to get the ideas of the Quran. All it needs from you is to be a person who spends the time and take the moment to reflect and contemplate on what Allah is trying to send to you of messages that would be relevant to your life. Allah is saying to you, قُلْ لِعِبَادِيَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, say to my servants who have believed, يُقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةِ, establish the salah. Allahu Akbar. Nothing is more lovely to the heart. Nothing will bring life to you. As Allah said in the Quran, يا أيها الذين آمنوا استجيبوا لله وللرسول إذا دعاكم لما يحييكم واعلموا أن الله يحول بين المرء وقلبه واعلموا أن الله يحول بين المرء وقلبه واتقوا فتنة لا تصيبن الذين ظلموا منكم خاصة واعلموا أن الله شديد العقاب. Allah is saying to us, respond to the call of Allah Azza wa Jal when He calls upon you. when He calls upon you to read the Quran. And there is nothing better and more fruitful and more comforting to the heart and to the mind as reading the Quran in salah, in khushu', while you are between the hands of Allah Azza wa Jal in the darkness of the night, and you feel that this moment is a moment of reflection between me and Allah Azza wa Jal, and you're reading the Quran and contemplating and reflecting, and you, without paying attention, feel the tears flowing from your eyes. This is the most beautiful moment that would help you to be with Allah Azza wa Jal. So upon difficult times, it's Allah Azza wa Jal. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. If it's not Allah Azza wa Jal who will give you the steadfastness, none will be able to give that to you. And that's why Allah says, وَاتَّقُوا فِتْنَةً لَا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْكُمْ خَاصَّةً. Be careful. Be careful of a fitna, a tragedy, a blast that could harm all of you. لا تصيبن الذين ظلموا منكم خاصة. It will not be targeting only those who are unjust and violent to themselves, but will be spreading to everyone around. قل لعبادي الذين آمنوا يقيموا الصلاة. Let us be mindful of this, my brothers and sisters. Let us walk from this masjid knowing that we have a beautiful gift from Allah that is called salah. That the Prophet ﷺ went to the upper sky to bring it back, to bring it to us down to this earth, so we are able to enjoy and benefit from. We hear about mindfulness, and we see people doing mindfulness and contemplation and yoga in the streets to invite others to their world, to run away from the stress that we're living in. Latest news that there is a huge number of people who are suffering from mental health issues, and the system here is unable to cope and provide comfort to people who are going through difficulties with mental health challenges in Canada as a result of the pandemic. They call it a pandemic upon a pandemic. The way to deal with this would be to be with Allah Azza wa Jal. To be with Allah Azza wa Jal through salah. وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ إلا على الخاشعين الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو ربهم وأنهم إليه راجعون. This is number one. Let us be from the musallin. Let our salah bring the comfort to our heart. Let the salah be our connection with Allah Azza wa Jal. Let the salah done with khushu', with mindfulness and submissiveness to Allah Azza wa Jal, bring all the good to our heart and mind and soul and our dunya. وَيُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ سِرًّا وَعَلَانِيَةً. And let them spend from what Allah had given to them in public and in secret. One might be wondering, well, what's the connection between salah and spending in the cause of Allah Azza wa Jal, and between being steadfast at the time of difficult times, or in times where we're in most need to remember Allah Azza wa Jal? There is a beautiful and deep connection that we might not be able to see it visually or at the first level in our life, but there is something beyond our five senses that we sense with. There's something that the Quran tells us that we need to believe in, and we can feel the barakah of it in our life. Infaq, spending, is the source of all the goodness. It extinguishes the ghadab, the anger of Allah Azza wa Jal. It prolongs your life. It brings the comfort. It blesses your life. It increases your rizq. It protects you from calamities. It protects you in difficult times. And it brings to you the ease when you are most difficult, when you are mostly need for it in difficult times. Salah, infaq, spending in public and in secret. May Allah the Mighty, and especially in these difficult times we're living in, make us from the musallin, make us from the munfiqeen, and with the intention that, Ya Rabbi, we are doing this solely to you, Ya Rabb al-Alameen, so that, Ya Rabbi, we are able to get your rahmah and barakah. So, Ya Rabbi, we are able to be protected with your rahmah, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. We're still living in difficult time. Look at this right now. We're still apart from each other. We're still wearing masks. We're still, dealing with the pandemic we're living in. And this is to stay with us, as they're saying. This is not going to be going away. It's going to be probably staying with us for the next couple of years. And this is impacting our lives socially, economically, emotionally, in different dimensions. And all the way we can deal with it is by being with Allah Azza wa Jal. and those who exercise spending in the cause of Allah Azza wa Jal. As my brother mentioned earlier, there's an avenue for us to exercise that today during Salat al-Jum'ah, and to send something to those who were affected, but with one intention, not because we feel sorry for them. Yes, this is something that we feel as a human towards each other. But Ya Rabbi, I am going to be giving my sadaqah to Ya Rabbi, to be from those whom you mentioned in the Quran, يُقِيمُ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُنْفِقُ مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُم سِرًّا وَعَلَانِيَةً. Those who spend in public and in secret. Put it in the donation box or send it out with the intention that Ya Rabbi, I want this sadaqah to be rahmah on me, on my children, on my family. Ya Rabbi, I want this sadaqah to bring comfort, to shield me, to protect me and my loved one, Ya Rabbi. I want this sadaqah to be an ease and comfort and rahmah on those who have left this dunya from loved ones who are staying underground. I want this sadaqah, Ya Rabbi, to be protection for me in a day when there is no protection and no shade except your shade, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. وأقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه فيا فوز المستغفرين. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا وسيئات اعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك اللهم على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم إنا عبيدك أبناء عبيدك أبناء إمائك يا رب نواصينا بيدك ماض فينا حكمك يا رب عدل فينا قضاؤك يا رب. نسألك اللهم بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك أنزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك بأن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا يا رب العالمين. اجعله جلاء لهمومنا وأحزاننا يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نستغيث بك، اللهم إنا نستجير بك، اللهم إنا نتضرع إليك. اللهم نسألك في هذا اليوم الفضيل وفي هذه الساعة المباركة بأن تنزل علينا رحمات من عندك يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. ربنا انشر لنا من رحمتك وهيئ لنا من أمرنا مرفقا. اللهم إن ظلمنا أنفسنا وإلا تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. اللهم هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. ربي أوزعنا نشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علي وعلى والدي يا رب وأن أعمل صالحا ترضاه وأصلح لي في ذريتي يا رب إني تبت إليك وإنني من المسلمين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم ارحم المسلمين في مشارق الأرض ومغاربها يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وأقم الصلاة.